All right, Coach, go ahead, opening statement.
Yeah, well, welcome everybody here. Appreciate you guys, all you've done this off season to cover us, and obviously leading up to the game. Probably the statement that you're going to hear across all of college football is how much excitement, that there is for the season to kind of get rolling. Same thing here. We're super excited. Really want to say thank you and show my appreciation to Southern Miss administration, Southern Miss board, Dr. Paul, Jeremy, his staff, so many people that over the last 8 months have allowed us, 8+ months, have allowed us to get to this point. A lot of hours behind the scenes, a lot of pushing, pulling, tugging, working together, trying to get Southern Miss back to the top. And I really appreciate, everyone that's been involved in that at every level, from the top all the way to the people that keep this building clean, all the way to the people that help us with the fields. The last 8+ months has been phenomenal, and kind of rolling into the season, the excitement is high. Appreciate all of the behind the scenes people that's going to make this weekend work. Obviously Jeremy and his staff, Spencer Bridges, Sean, all the people that, from everything from the lights coming on to the parking to the everything that's going to go toward making this weekend really, really good. I'm not sure from a holistic standpoint that we've had a weekend here to this magnitude in a long time. So really appreciative to the people who are going to be making sure that every fan, player, coach, administrator, news broadcaster, all of those things are going to have a phenomenal weekend. Obviously appreciative to the Mississippi State administration for allowing this game to happen. What it's going to do for this town this weekend is unprecedented. It's going to be able to allow us to really continue to move in the right direction economically, entertainment-wise, bringing fans together. This is what college football is about. It has the ability to change communities, it has the ability to change states, it has the ability to make a positive impact, not only on the young men on the field, but so many other people involved. So I appreciate the administration, obviously here in Mississippi State, of kind of putting this game, or allowing this game to happen. It's gonna pay dividends for both programs. It really is. And then obviously, huge appreciation to all the fans that have already bought tickets. If you haven't bought tickets, I'm not sure what you're waiting on, but we will keep the ticket lines open. I know there's been change with the process of tickets and parking. Remember, guys, everyone wants change until you have to change, and no one is trying to change anything to make it any more or less accommodating. Everything we're doing is trying to get Southern Miss to the top. The world has changed. Things have changed. We have to change. The worst thing you can say is this is the way we've always done it. I think we've got to stay progressive. So yes, there's going to be some hiccups and headaches, and trust me, this weekend has way too many positives for us not to enjoy it. So every fan, every donor, every student that's going to pack this stadium and fill this town, from me to you, from our program to you, thank you for that. Obviously to the game, huge challenge coming up. Mississippi State, really good football team. I know when you look back over what happened last year, you may not say that, but that year two, they've invested $15-18 million in the new players in this new revenue sharing model. Coach Libby and his staff, phenomenal coaching staff at building this thing the right way. Even in the games you watched last year, there were just moments where things didn't go great, but they were in most of those games. They were making plays in most of those games. So we expect year two to be a total transformation. They've invested in players, they've flipped their roster, they've made adjustments. Players are coming into the second year of the expectation. So I expect a huge challenge. We have an appropriate fear of our opponents, which Steph Curry referred to that with the NBA, USA, Olympic basketball. Appropriate fear is not a fear of, oh my God, I'm scared. It's a fear of respect. It's a respect of their talents, a respect enough, a fear of their talents and their abilities enough to generate enough respect to go out and prepare to play the best of our abilities. It's something we've talked about with our team. We want to have an appropriate fear, appropriate respect of all of our opponents, regardless of what their record was, regardless of what their record is, regardless of what we think, about what we see on film or what we don't see. you got to respect their abilities, and we're looking forward to the challenge. Obviously, we got to play really, really, really well in order to have a chance to win on Saturday. We're playing a team from the SEC. I've said it before, I think it's the best conference in the world. The competitiveness from top to bottom, the athletes, the size, the strength, the coaching prowess, the chess match that goes on every week in that league is top tier. To win these type of games, you got to be very opportunistic. The margin of error is small in all of college football games, but in this game it's super small. So we've got to play dang near flawless to have a chance to win. And again, when you start looking at the talent that they have, they're going to make it really challenging for us to do that. We're preparing at a really high clip. We understand we got to have unbelievable discipline, unbelievable focus, and an unbelievable attention to detail to give ourselves a chance to come out and have success on Saturday. So we're excited about it. We got a lot of work to do, 4 days, and we got to use every second of every day. And that's not just on the practice field. That's not just in the meeting room. That's going to class on time. That's making sure we take care of our bodies. That's getting the right amount of sleep. That's understanding that there's going to be a ton of distractions in this community for the next 48, 72 hours that we've got to be able to lock in everything we do. So we've got to do that. Our guys are excited. I'm excited. So with that, I open up for questions.
I know that you didn't release a depth chart. How many position battles are still up for grabs as we head into week one?
Realistically, probably 3 or 4. And that's not, hey, who are we waiting to see play there? It's, okay, is this person better over here or over there? And if we move him over there, who we put there? That's really what it is. I know, I could release one and say or. I don't know what that does. I think the game has changed. It creates more problems in our building when you release them. It creates you to ask questions that I probably don't have the answer to. Coaches are different. I think, again, for us, it's twofold. In our building, I don't want to create issues. And then the 2 or 3 guys that we still have to see where they kind of end up. We need Tuesday and Wednesday practice to do that. For us, Monday is kind of our general information day. Tuesday and Wednesday are our work days. So Tuesday and Wednesday will kind of help us clear up some of those questions. And it's not a whole team's worth, but when you put out the depth chart and don't put the defense on it or don't put the offense on it. So obviously moving forward, we'll have one. It's going to continue to change, but right now there's still 2 or 3 guys that they're going to play, but are you going to play over here or are you going to play over there? And that will be determined in the next few days.
Coach, when you look at not last fall, but just fall camp and everything, and then the last couple of days, what has really stood out about the wide receiver for you? Just how they developed and the skill there?
Yeah, I think their consistency is starting to really kind of gel. As you go through camp, you're going install 1, install 2, install 3, install 4. When you get to game week, you're starting to say, okay, on first and second down, this is what we want to do. On third down, this is what we want to do. In the red area, this is what we want to do. So you start repping the same plays more over and over and over versus certain looks that you think you're going to get. So over the last week and a half, we've really started to see that group really start to hone in on where's my break point, what's the coverage, what do I do versus this coverage, how do I adjust, which has created some consistency. So that's probably the biggest thing, the consistency that we're starting to see now that we're putting a game plan in. A lot less thinking, a lot more reacting because, hey, we're running the same set of plays now. We're just adjusting to coverages or situations.
What do you think the strength of that group is?
They've all played. I think that's, probably, at all different levels. I mean, there's some, when I say different levels, there's some guys who've played a lot. There's some guys who haven't played as much, but they've all played. So the ability for them to come out day after day after day, they understand what it takes. I think everyone in that room that will probably contribute right now has played some level of college football. And I think that goes into deeper than just at practice. It goes into what are your off the field habits? What are you doing in the film room? It's not the first time that you've seen a different coverage. It's not the first time that you've seen the game at this speed. So I think that's a big help.
Looking at the film at Blake Shapen, what does he kind of pose?
Real dude. Obviously, I know he didn't play as much in the last week or so. We've really started, me personally, have really started to dive into him. He's a football player. He's tough. He's gritty. Just last night I was watching. I mean, he got hurt in that Florida game, and he played another 10, 12 snaps. I mean, that takes toughness. That takes grit. That just shows the type of leadership that he has, that he wants to be out there. I think when you really look at how he is impacting the team now, and even when he wasn't, available, I think that just shows his leadership. When you really dial it down to his physical ability, he can make all the throws. He runs well enough to really keep you balanced. He ain't running. Last year, wasn't running looking to slide. He was trying to get the extra yards. When your quarterback has that type of toughness and grit, your team plays with that, and they feed off of that. When your quarterback can make all the throws, it's really difficult to get him off platform. When your quarterback, now going into year 2, has a really good grasp of the system, it's hard to fool him with coverage. The ball comes out a lot quicker. It makes everybody around him better. So I got a lot of respect for him. Obviously, I knew about him, kind of leading up to, the preseason attention, and then obviously last year's attention. But when you really start to dive into it, he's a really, really good football player. From what I can tell on the outside in, really, really good person and leader as well.
Coach, some unknowns with the 2 deeps you're facing, same for them with us. Kind of speak to, with that situation in mind, scheming for strengths and weaknesses, knowing where you could, your bread's going to be buttered, so to speak, and where you should shy away from this early in the season.
Yeah, I think these first games are always, especially now with the way the transfer portal is, they're always a little bit of the unknown, and you got to kind of give your guys some parameters, and they got to trust their fundamentals and techniques. We can't necessarily tell them that this guy's going to line up here or he's not going to line up there. You got to play your rules, and that makes your summer development, your fall camp development more impactful. It's not just, hey, we're going to draw up this play in the dirt because we know they're going to be here and it's going to work. We can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, so we're relying on a lot of experience, guys who have been in games before. We're relying on our rules and our fundamentals and techniques being sound. And then as coaches, we got to make sure we're giving the guys or putting the guys in the best position with their rules and fundamentals. You got to kind of balance it. You can't, live in the if, then world. You got to give them something quick, give them some fundamentals, some techniques, and let them go play fast. And then I think there will be a lot of adjusting as the game goes on. I do know this: I don't need a depth chart. I don't need to know who they are. You spend $15 million, $18 million, they got good players. So we better be prepared to face really, really good players. I think it helps our guys focus more on us and what we need to do to be successful. We got to have really good footwork. We got to have really good communication. Because if we don't, we will get exposed. And I think the more we understand that it's about controlling what we can control. Sometimes you watch film and you're like, oh, I can run by this guy, or this guy's fast or slow. And you naturally kind of start to prepare for that clip, or that necessarily what you see. Right now, we have to prepare for the best and put ourselves in the best position to combat that.
To one known commodity, Isaac Smith, dropping down into the nickel where he can, obviously really be an impactful player for them, and speak to his talent level.
Yeah, I think when you play that structure of defense, I think that nickel player is usually the most complete player on the team, because he's got to do a little bit of everything. He's got to be a lineman as far as fitting in the box, linebacker. He's got to be able to cover. He's got to be able to set edges. So whenever you have a player in that position, like Smith, I think he's shown that he's got versatility. He can cover, he can fit, he can blitz, which again creates another layer, because it's not just, hey, how do we manipulate him with runs or passes. It's also understanding that him blitzing or him folding into the box in certain scenarios is going to cause some havoc. And then when you get put in that position, that means you have the ability to do it all. I think he's shown that. Even when you go back and you watch him at other positions, he was still showing the skill sets of, he was fitting down in the box even when he was playing in the sky. He was covering deep routes even when he was playing at the safety position, and now he's going to be a little closer to the ball. I think it allows his instinct to play a little bit. He's going to cause some problems on Saturday. We've got to do a really good job of identifying him. We got to know where he's at. And then we've got to do a really good job of whoever is responsible for him. If it's the O-line in the box, we got to account for him. If it's the receivers in the pass game, we got to know where he's at. I think that just kind of, when you start stacking good players on good players, you got a chance to be really good. And I think they've made some adjustments. When I say adjustments, I mean additions to some positions where they felt they needed. We all do. But when you put those pieces around really good players like Smith, I think you're poised for a good year.
Consistency, discipline, that's been echoed, with your tenure here. How do you feel like maybe the team has shown, that they can be composed, they can?
We're gonna find out at 11:03. We're gonna find out how composed we can be when they kick that ball off. No, I mean, obviously you can talk about it. You can try to manufacture it in practice. You can talk about it and try to manufacture it in practice and talk about it, but you really don't know. I've been on the good side of these, games where, hey, for whatever reason, we've played really, really well and been able to really create some historical moments. I'm in a little bit of a new territory. I've never had to open with one of these games. So I've always, when I say one of these games where you're playing a superior opponent, I've always been in a situation where you've played a game and then you've been able to kind of regroup and you can teach and discuss adversity and how you handle it. You can teach and discuss discipline. You can teach and discuss composure with tangible clips. You don't get that this time. So we've got to really hound in on it, from a coaching standpoint. Our players got to embrace it. And then in the moment, we've got to do a really good job of responding the right way. We may open the game with a 99-yard kick return. We still got 59 minutes left to play. They may open the game with a 99-yard kick return. We still got 59 minutes left to play. So regardless of what happens, we've got to be able to focus on the next play and playing that play with more focus and intensity than the last play. If we can do that over the course of the game, not make mistakes, be very opportunistic, I think we'll have a chance. Is that going to be easy? No way. If you can tell me how composed my team will be, I will pay you a lot of money if you're right. But that's what we got to do. We've got to work at it. We've got to be prepared. Coaches have a big part of it. Players, leaders have a big part of it. But until you are in the moment, you don't know. And that's part of why college football is so great. We don't get a preseason, we don't get an exhibition, we don't get a, hey, come on over, let's scrimmage for 12 plays and you go back. We don't get joint practices. So you find out in the moment. I think our guys have done a really good job. I think our guys understand that. But until we're in the moment and have to respond, we won't know.
You brought that up. You've been on, part of these, bigger games with, like against bigger schools. In those games, you come out on top. What have kind of been the common things that you've kind of noticed that maybe gone right for you that maybe helped?
Good players. That's the first one. We've played extremely disciplined. We didn't make a lot of mistakes. We didn't. I talk to the team about it all the time. We made our layups. So the easy things we made easy. We didn't have a penalty for having two guys lined up on the ball at the same time. We didn't jump off sides. We didn't have 10 run out on the punt team and have to call the 11th guy, and now you're rushing. We didn't have guys, busting coverages because we communicated. Once you make your layups, you give yourself a chance. Then you have to be very opportunistic. If they throw us the ball, we have to catch it. If they put it on the ground, we have to recover it. When we get a chance to make an open field tackle, we can't miss it. In these type of games, when opportunities come, and we don't know how many will come, you have to win those moments. You don't, you give them another opportunity. I tell our DBs all the time, a PBU means nothing but 2nd and 10. You've given Blake another opportunity to get it right. If we can get our hands on the ball, we have to catch it. That's the only way in these type of games that you survive. And then we have to be able to stay composed throughout the game. Every game that I've been a part of that we've played really well in, we never led the whole game. We never just, from the start to the finish had to lead. We had to battle back. We had to respond. So those are the things that have to happen. It's difficult. Like I say, we've been on both sides. We've played NC State in 22, and we battled, and we weren't as opportunistic down the stretch as we needed to be. We played Notre Dame, and back a few years ago, and I mean, every time they threw a ball near one of our DBs, we called it. Turn around the very next week against Bowling Green and drop 4. So I mean, it's not a science. It's a little bit of making sure our guys are in the right mindset, making sure our guys are ready for the moment when it comes, with really, really diligent practice habits, really, really diligent meetings, really, really diligent in the moment fundamentals. I have to be looking at the right stuff. If I'm supposed to be looking at a certain thing, I got to look at it. If I'm supposed to block a certain guy, I got to block him. And if you do that over the course of 60 minutes, sometimes the ball bounces your way.
Last week talking to Matt Jones, I noticed he constantly has a smile on his face and energy about him. A guy like that on the offense that you're bringing out, how can you really try to elevate that group, especially with the big time opener against an in-state rival?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys on our team that this game means a lot to. Not only for the opportunity to go out and play really well, create a lot of value for themselves. It's an in-state rival, so a lot of these guys played high school with some of these guys. They're probably TikTok friends and Instagram friends. It means a lot. A lot of these guys from this state have grown up in this rivalry, although not a consistent, year in and year out. But this rivalry has been something where two programs have been very competitive for a long time. I'm talking, 10, 15 years back when these kids were in like elementary school. So it's important. A guy like Matt who has some, I talk about it all the time, vested interests. He's from this state. He's played this school before. He knows a lot of these guys. He's ready to kind of take an opportunity and run with it. That vested interest creates some excitement. But at the end of the day, it don't matter if you're from Mississippi or California. We've got to execute relentlessly to have a chance. And I think our guys understand that. I think our guys, value what we have on this team right now, which is really good camaraderie, really good a bond. And we got to go out and play together. And like I've told them, we didn't sign up for a one-game season. We signed up for a journey, and that's first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter, Sunday of next week, all the way through. And if we win enough moments throughout the year, I think we'll like the result.
Coach, appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys. Look forward to seeing you Saturday, man. To the top.